Are being recorded, ladies.
Okay, we got this.
That's right.
Take my badge off my mini hats.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lunch with Mountain State Cheer Academy. I'm Coach TT.
Hey, I'm Coach Candy. Whether in your car, during your planning period, while your kids are napping, we're so glad that you could join us today.
I cannot believe that we're here already. We have reached our final letter of our Fired Up series going over our core values. So we've already looked at friendship, integrity, respect, excellence, determination, and unity. And then today we are talking about our final piece of the puzzle that ties it all together with positivity. So again, I'm excited to be here with you guys. Before we dive in, I do want to hear back from our listeners. So if you have a second to share your thoughts in the comments, please do so. This is about to get a little bit more unfiltered as we move forward in our next series. We're going to talk about moms unfiltered, moms going wild, cheer moms going wild next week. So we have some fun, but we want to know what helps you stay positive when life gets hard, or maybe even tag someone who brings positivity into your life. Anything that you want to share in the comment section, we will be monitoring those throughout our session today, and we'll share some of those thoughts here later.
Yes, we love reading your stories, your shout outs. So just don't scroll, join our conversations in the comments. You never know who might need to see your words or your comments today, or just need to see how crazy you are. They may need to smile. You never know, because be the reason someone smiles today.
That's right. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We are so excited to have our very special guest today joining us from Jacksonville, Florida, my very own lovely cousin, Shay Peck. Shay is a senior mortgage loan officer, a spin instructor, and a powerhouse of positivity. She brings a lot of light to everyone around her, and so we're so excited to have you, Shay.
He is
Thank
also
you.
a former D1 basketball player from Duquesne. Kane. Oh, sorry, girl. I was
You got it, girl.
yeah. University. She told us not to say that, but we're doing it anyway.
Hey, you know what? We're saying it proudly because Shay's story is really incredible. From overcoming multiple injuries like a broken ankle, she had heart surgery in college in order to be eligible to play. In her adult life, she had ACL and MCL surgery. She's moved to multiple cities from Pittsburgh to Morgantown to Jacksonville, Florida. She's changed her careers, and she still shows up passionate about being active in her life. She shows up as a leader with heart, and she's deeply passionate about the Seth Project, which is growing here in Buchanan and as well as nationwide. Thanks a lot to
Mhm.
your efforts, Shay. So, the Seth Project works to end ALS nationwide. So, welcome to Lunch with MSCA, Shay. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the weather down there, Shay. So is it warm? Have you had to break out the sweaters yet? Are you still going to the pool, to the beach? Has it snowed down there? Like, is it like it's snowing here? So let's talk about the weather. Like, are you wearing like your Christmas sweaters yet, or what?
I was yesterday. Yes. So yesterday I had on Uggs and like the heaviest sweater that I have. And I was like, guys, I didn't move down here for this. But being in Northeast Florida, so we do get some cooler weather. Right now we got a cold front. So it's been like 35 to 40 in the mornings when I like wake up to take my dog out. But daytime, it's been getting up to like 60s, 70s. It's just been the last couple of days. But I think the rest of the week, we're going to be back to those mid 70s, low 80s. So
Awesome.
normal Florida weather to return soon, but it has been a couple very cool days that were not welcome to me. A lot of people down here like love it. Like, they get that break. And if they're from here, grew up in Florida, they like that, you know, and I'm like, I didn't come down here for this, guys.
No.
Yeah.
Did you find that when you moved to Florida that I mean, I know seasonal depression's a real thing, but did you
Mhm.
find that your mood, improved when you moved down?
Yeah, honestly, I did. And I was definitely one of the people back home with like that seasonal depression. There's a huge part of me coming down here was I wanted sun, I wanted warmth. I mean, obviously, like we grew up skiing together, and like there were a lot of winter things I liked to do, but a huge portion of that for me was like it's just too much out of the year. I just wanted warm, and I always said I want to wrap my Christmas lights around a palm tree, and here we are.
Here you are.
But yeah, when I first moved down here, it was also I remember when I moved in, it was mid-May, and your brother Seth came to help me move stuff, and he had on a button-down shirt and pants, and it's like 80-some degree weather, and he's like helping carry stuff in. And I'm like, how are you not dying? And he's like, oh, yeah, this is nothing. Like, you'll get used to this. Like, you'll get used to the hot, like you got used to the cold back home. And so it's true. Like, your blood thins and then you become a wimp because now it's like that weather drops below 60 and I'm not for it. So, but I did find
Yeah, I
that
don't
people
blame
are
you.
happier, I feel like just because it's sunny and, you know, it's just, there's more to
You're able to
do. You
take
can
more
get
walks
outside.
and yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot
And you're
more.
tanner. I'm always happier when I'm tan, and your tan is
I
lovely. You're
know. She looks
glowing.
so
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This
you
is
look
actually a
really
spray
good.
tan, so I'm a big proponent of the
That's okay
spray
too.
tans. But yeah.
Yeah. We do that, right, Coach Candy? But we do the scrub
Oh,
dub.
I
oh
went to a
We
yeah.
festival
We
scrub in the
last
like rub it
morning.
weekend.
on.
First rule
That
of festivals, always get a
bronzer.
spray tan.
Yeah. Well, you look great. We're happy you're
Thank
here.
you.
And
Yes.
you were the perfect guest to have on for positive energy. Like I said, you bring light to all of those around you. And I know recently you've been really diving into your spin cycle, your spin instructor role, which helps bring positivity to a lot of people, as well as keeping them active and stuff. So,
Yep.
just to start off today's session, do you mind telling us exactly what does positivity mean to you? How do you stay positive in tough moments, etc.?
Sure. I think that positivity truly is the basis of everything that we do, or it should be, try to be kept in mind. Now, I think that positivity is something that sometimes we have to work for and remind ourselves needs to be present because it's obviously very easy to let your mood be influenced by what's going on around you. And sometimes we have to self talk into a place of really perspective. I think for me, it's a matter of, all right, this isn't a bad life, this is a bad moment. I think that when you let yourself start to spiral or get into a negative way of thinking, it can be contagious no matter which way you go. So negative or positive, I feel like it's up to you to make your day go one way or the other. We can't control what happens to us, but we can certainly control how we react to it. So
I love how you said that it's not a, what did you say about it's not a negative life, it's a negative moment? Is that
moment.
what you said? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. That should be like
Yeah,
on
and
a
I mean, you can
poster.
say like it's not a bad life, it's a bad day, but I
Not a
truly don't
bad,
even like
yeah,
to think about it being like that chunk of a whole, like a day is a day. There has to be positive parts to each day. And a big thing
absolutely.
for me is, I'm in the mortgage industry. I'm also a spin instructor. I have, a higher stress level job, with the industry that I'm in. But at the end of every day, I try to find what I call win of the day. A win of the day could be something as simple as, I made it to the grocery and got the tzatziki that I was trying to find at two different stores. Or it could be I got a very difficult loan cleared to close for a borrower that's been dying to be in a home. So the win of the day can be on many ends of, this range, but to not think it's a bad life, it's certainly not a
Right.
bad day. There were positives
Absolutely.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
I
love that
love
too.
that. We
And I
should
think
make
it's
that into
important
like
to
a
know, like,
sign.
yeah, put it in. Yes, let's paint it on the wall in the gym. I like
I
it.
don't test me with a good
Yeah,
time.
I like what you said.
I'll be home for
That like
Christmas. We can
positivity
paint.
is a choice. Yeah,
Yeah, and
positivity
it
is a
is.
choice, And like when something happens, it's important that we bounce back with like a, with hope. And maybe that good moment is the fact that you were able to not spiral and make it into a bad day. I know
Yeah.
like growing up and just, we grow and we evolve. And as I've gotten older, as I've had experiences, I feel like everybody when we're younger, positivity is just so flat and without substance. It's just, oh, it's happiness, it's smiling, it's, but then as we grow, it's hope, and it's having real feelings. It's not just
Mhm.
ignoring your real emotions. It's about resilience and how you bounce back, and more about like the outlook that you have. There's a lot more depth to it as we age. And so yeah, I think it's about being caring and compassionate and all of those honesty, qualities that go along with it. So
Yeah. I
positivity
agree.
goes
And
a
I
long
think that
way.
having something to look forward to, no matter how big or how small, is also a huge, um, it's always been a huge thing for me. And that can also be something so little or so big, but just having one little thing to look forward to, whether it be at the end of the week or at the end of the day, or, um, just keeping something in sight that you can be excited for and positive
Yeah.
about, that can get you through some of those more difficult moments, because, there's an end goal is whatever, so however silly or big it might be. So
Our first
Yeah.
competition, I'm so excited about.
Same. But also Shay messaged me and said that she is thinking we should go skiing again this winter. And it's probably been how many years?
I have not put on skis since I moved to Florida, and that was 2018. And I have
Okay.
torn my knee since then. So I don't
And I've
know.
torn an Achilles.
I mean,
So
we
we
need to
are
like
going to
bunny slope
be,
it.
yeah.
Bunny slope
Yeah.
only, for sure.
You might want to start in your backyard, Taylor. I'm not joking.
Nobody
Don't tempt
needs
me with a good
us.
time.
Yeah.
I'm
In fact, the backyard might be better because, as we know, Dave has a side by side,
I
and
know.
we could be like water skiing, and we
Absolutely.
wouldn't have to wait in lines for, the lift. We can
Absolutely.
warm up in the side by side when we want.
Yes.
It's not a bad idea.
I see a lot of
So, Shay,
positives about the yard.
that's right.
See what I did?
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get back on track. Shay,
Oh
you wear a
man.
lot of
Yeah.
hats. You're a woman of many hats, and you
Lots of
lead
hats.
professionally as a senior mortgage or senior loan officer. You
Mhm.
teach these spin classes. I think you've taken over a leadership role at your gym. And you really do inspire others every day. And I feel like you find a way to maintain that positivity. How do you do that? How do you do it
Truly.
in different areas of your life too? Like, what does it look like in each area?
Sure. Well, I think that translates across the board as just a mindset. So, every single day, obviously, whether I'm getting up to teach and go to work, or just one or the other, weekends we take work calls and I teach on the weekends. Some days are both, some days are one. But it truly, I think, is a matter of a mindset from the second that you wake up. I am an early bird. So, my alarm's going off in the 4 o'clock hour, typically, sometimes five. I'm being real. Candy's like, what?
I know.
And just in that same sense, I'm probably going to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
Mm,
But from the second I wake up in the morning, no matter what the day holds, I have found that waking up earlier helps me kind of get in the right mindset, every single day, no matter what it is that I'm facing, or what industry, or which part of my day might be a challenge, so that you can start the day with a positive mindset no matter what you do. I think that routine helps with that.
yeah.
And unfortunately, it is like, you get so programmed on the weekdays to be up at 4:45, and then you get to Saturday, Sunday, and you're up at 4:45, and your dog is too.
Mm,
But I think routine and just having that set mindset. I mean, every day you're not going to wake up and be in a good mood. It's just the truth about it. So I think it's a more of just a mindset to, here's what I know I've got to do today. And then I'm also, a big thing for me is, I'm a big believer in swallowing the frog. which means getting your most difficult task with over first thing in the morning. So if I have a call at work that I'm dreading, or bad news to deliver to somebody, or, something's going on, that the most difficult task, no matter what it may be, I try to get that out of the way first thing, so that you get that behind you, everything's downhill from there, right?
That's a great,
Yeah,
great
that's a
way.
good little piece of advice.
Yeah.
We put it off all day long. By 3-4 o'clock, it might get put off till tomorrow. You deal with it first thing in the morning when you get to work, or whatever it is. I hate unloading the dishwasher. My number one thing, I hate it.
Agreed.
But if I get up and I unload that stupid dishwasher that ran all night, first thing in the morning, it's done. Right. And then everything from there, then I'm motivated. Everything from there just kind of flows.
And that's so true. Like with coaching, our athletes, they feed off like our energy. If I come in tired or frustrated, they can feel it. I try to come in and have a positive attitude and try to be uplifting. And some days I just don't have the energy. But it's a mindset too, as well.
Yep.
Like I've got to come in and even though I may feel tired, like I'm like, Candy, you've got to turn it on. Like these kids count on you. And honestly, I tell you, like it has really helped my mindset. The gym, like being around these kids, it has helped mentally, like to be around the gym and being around everybody. So.
And we talked last week about unity, and I think in friendships, and I think that's why it's important when you surround yourself with other leaders, because it really is contagious. But also when you have other leaders, it's not all, you don't carry the weight or that burden of being expected to show up with 100% of positivity all the time. That's not realistic.
Right.
Like Shay said, you're going to have days where you wake up and you're struggling in the morning and it takes you a while to get going. So on those days, Candy, when you come in, I try to be, tuned in to your emotions as well. I know that you pick up the slack for me a lot, but I also try to just be aware of, are we coming in feeling a little, less positive today? I know I got to pick up the slack, or you can tell when one of our practices, Coach TT starts to snowball, and then where I look at you and I'm like, Candy, I need you to pick up the energy. I need you out there. And you get up and you just go out there and you pump them up, And Shay, I know you have a good team down there in Florida, otherwise you wouldn't have stayed. But it's important that we count on our other counterparts to help us in leadership as well, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. Candy, I think you've got the next part.
Oh, I am so sorry. I'm like squirreling.
That's okay.
Let's talk about positivity in friendship. It's easy to be positive, but sometimes that means like staying in boundaries or walking away from like negative energy. So like Shay, do you care to talk about that?
Yeah. A good reference, I think, for me is that there's a book by John Gordon, and it's called The Energy Bus. And he talks about energy vampires, which are people around you that kind of suck the life out of you, suck that positivity out of you. It's your day-to-day Eeyore, right? And some people are just more of that type of person. So with that, you don't want to become that. Like I said earlier, energy is contagious. So I think when you're met with someone that constantly you feel brings a more negative mindset or pessimistic, versus looking at like the positives or being optimistic about any given situation, really what we can do is try to help with our energy. Like you guys were just saying, that positive energy that you can transfer to others. At a certain point, you have to, you can be as positive as you want. If the other person is not really reciprocating, or you don't see a lot of change at that point, sometimes you have to have boundaries. And it's just a matter of, hey, I'm obviously here for you, or, to support you, or whatever the role may be, that, whatever the situation is. But, you can easily get sucked into that if you allow yourself. So I think the biggest thing with staying positive is also knowing when you need to create boundaries with someone who is constantly trying to pull you down. I mean, I tell my riders in class all the time, you have to pour into others. Like some days, you know, Candy, you'll have a bad day and Taylor will need to pick you up and vice versa. But that pouring to and from the glass should be equal at a certain point. Some weeks might be worse for you than her. And in those weeks, she might be pouring more into you. But then when she needs it, you got to be there to pour back. So I think that it has to be equal. But I also think that we have to create boundaries with a certain point with negative energy, because you truly are going to be what you surround yourself with. So I'm fortunate that I have a super positive team, not only on the mortgage side, but on the spin side. Everybody has their days. So it's just a matter of being there for them. But in turn, I expect them to be there for me too.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And like we said, you know, positive energy is contagious, but just like you said, negative energy can also be contagious. And so sometimes, you know, you just have to have like that checkpoint with yourself and be honest with yourself about when, you know, obviously as a friend, you want to show up with compassion and you want to be a good listener and you want to have grace. But at the same time, when it starts affecting yourself or when you start feeling a shift in your mindset and your positivity, that's probably when the boundaries need to happen, you know? So boundaries are healthy.
Yeah.
Full
Even if
supporter of
it's just a
boundaries.
little space,
Yeah.
just for a moment, and then they might get out of that. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, cut that friendship right off, but I mean, if it's somebody that it feels toxic and it continues and it continues, and this person stays in that type of space, you're not obligated to stick around that. You know, it's not healthy to, if you know. So
Yeah.
I
And
think
I think
positivity,
I think
it
a lot of
spreads.
times, like, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We're all excited.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors.
I was listening to Candy.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say that
positivity.
I'm gonna
Just
stop.
go, Taylor.
You're going.
Positivity, it spreads fast when, you know, people are genuinely like supporting each other. And you can feel it when people are working, you know, with you or if they're working against you. And it's very important that you know the difference. And you know, it's very important that we support each other.
Agreed. I think there's an authenticity there that can be felt for sure when, you know, if someone's being genuine, or if it's just like a fake type of, energy.
And I think I was gonna say, when we were playing rock, paper, scissors there, I was just gonna say that I think that Candy, we had a conversation with Justin Bowers, and he encouraged us to have the tough conversations and how, you know, stepping out of our comfort zone is important and just being honest. Like being honest is not always easy, having that integrity, but also holding your friends accountable and being open and honest with them. Like, hey, you know, I'm here to listen, but, you know, I'm just letting you know this is starting to affect my mindset, you know, so I am going to take some space. That way they don't feel like, you know, we're just ghosting you or, you know, I'm running away from this friendship. Or like Shay said, like, I'm not cutting our friendship off. I'm just saying like, you know,
I don't have the
like,
capacity for this right now.
I'm going to tell you the boundary. You're not going to just not know the boundary. You hear, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, but Shay, I mean, let's lean into your fitness coaching, your spin. I know that before I came and did your one spin class with you years ago, which was amazing, by the way. I mean, I had so much fun.
We were riders.
Yeah, and you were riding. You weren't even an instructor yet. You were just kind of getting started, but everyone was welcoming. The energy level was insane. It was like a club on bikes with water instead of alcohol. Like it was wild. They had lights, Candy. It was like
Stop it.
Really
I'm a light tech.
Yeah, they have
I'm a
TVs in
spin
there.
instructor,
You're
DJ,
like
and
in a
light tech all in
competition.
one.
You have stats on your bike so you can like race each other. It's really fun. But I come from Buchanan where that is not offered. Yes.
My dream.
So we come from Buchanan. Candy's never experienced that. I only had one class. But tell us, like, what is spin? How did you get involved? How did you get excited? How did you take that next step? Like, tell us about your journey with spin.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey. So obviously I'm from West Virginia and I'd never been on a spin bike. Came down here and in 2020 tore my ACL and MCL and meniscus. Just shredded all of it. And obviously this is like after my basketball career and everything. So I'm in my 30s. It's mid COVID. So I had my surgery, and then the first thing they do is, like, once you're able to move your leg and they unlock the brace, is they put you on a spin bike. And so it's, essentially a indoor cycling. So you're on a bike that goes nowhere. And I kept driving past this studio and I was very intimidated to go in, but something just kept calling my name. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I just kept driving by it. It was, on a road that I drive all the time, and no one would come with me. So I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm booking it. So I did. And didn't really know what I was getting into because I ordered Chipotle like an hour before my first class. So it was late. And so I'm like housing this burrito, and I go in there and I'm like so full. And I sit on this back corner bike, and there's like 46 bikes in this room. So I sit on the back corner bike in the dark. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. They have me clipping in like my shoes into the actual pedal. I'm like, what is going on? And then the music comes on and the lights start changing, and this instructor is up there. And at this time, my friend Seth Poling, who we were talking about with the Seth Project, he was still alive. And he, at that point, was starting to see like some physical changes with, his motor skills, and was, losing the ability to, balance and really just overall movement, which is what happens with ALS. And the instructor was like, it's going to get to me, but she was like, you don't have to, you get to. And you know how many people out there wish they could do this, and that they could move their body. And so I'm suffering, right? I'm like on this bike suffering, I think. And she just put it in perspective for me. She was like, here I'm sitting here and I'm physically able to do it. It just sucks. And here I'm thinking of Seth, right? It's the first person that like came to mind. And I'm like, he can't physically do this now. So that perspective just sort of changed my mindset on like, this is hard, but she's right. And I'm going to come back. So like, they're all on the beat of the music. They're all like, at this point in time, I'm like, there's no way I'll ever be able to do this. Like, there's no shot. It's rhythm riding. So you're on the beat of the music, the whole class. I kept coming back. Like, I just kept coming back. Something in me was like, I need this. But I sat on that back corner bike and I cried like class after class after class, because I found something that was just good for me, mind, body, and soul, right? And I think that that's what we have to do. So my career in basketball was because I was good at it, and there was a certain point where the love of the game goes away and it's means to an end. It's paying my 4-year Division I basketball career, is paying my full school, my 2 heart surgeries, my fake tooth that I got knocked out, So it's like, you don't know that you're ever going to find, you don't know you're ever going to find anything that you love like that again. And at first it wasn't, at first, like, I thought that it was just so difficult, but now, after about 10 months, I was like, I want to be able to give this feeling back to other people like that this is given to me. It got me out of one of the darkest places of my life, was being able to move and breathe. And so then, that's when I decided that I wanted to become an instructor and to be able to like transfer that positivity and all the good things that it did for me to other people, because I felt relatable. I felt like people could relate to my story, and all the things I went through, not just the injuries, but being a former athlete and having to, pivot in life. And through all of that, those bikes have seen a lot of things. They saw me get married. They saw me get divorced. They saw me get a dog. They saw me go through a company change. There's been things that those bikes were always there for me. So it was a long journey to get on it. And that was a long-winded way to say all that. But it's been a huge part of my life, and I couldn't do it without it. So.
Wow.
Well,
That's
And I knew that's
me.
why you'd be good at this one. Yeah, because I mean, every
Yes.
day, for those of you who haven't been in spin classes, like she gets a headset, she gets a microphone, and she's up there riding her bike. I mean, so fast. When I got done with this class, Candy, I couldn't sit on the toilet for like 3 days, literally.
I want a bike.
Sit on or get off
I
of.
want a spin bike right now.
You're gonna have
We
to
need
bring
a
her down here,
Listen, you
Taylor.
don't, yeah, we just need to go to a class
Do
because,
they have a
like, you can
beginner
get on a spin
class?
bike, but that's not what's going to get you. Yeah.
Do they have
It's
a do you have
wild.
a
You
beginner
you then
class?
they give you weights, Candy. They give you weights. You got to ride the bike and you
Ah,
got to be doing things.
We do have
Oh
an
yeah,
RNC.
it's no joke.
I'll fall off the bike.
No,
We
you're
You have to
clipped
spin
in.
the
You're not
legs
going
because I'm
anywhere.
doom.
every class I coach, it could be any level of fitness. So you could be first time rider or you could be on your 500th ride. And the goal is to coach to the room so that everyone's able to participate. So I might say, hey, this is the modified way to do this. Just like any workout, there's modifications and
That's why they
um,
snap you right in. That's why they snap your feet
yeah,
right
I
in.
tell them that all the time. I'm like, you're
You
clipped
can't
in.
run either.
Yeah, you're here
Can't run
now.
away that way.
Right.
Well, Shay,
Oh,
but you have to actually, like, you have to ride the bike, you have to perform, but you also have to communicate with your riders. So, like, what are you saying in classes that gets because that's what I think that was what would have excited me. Yeah, the lights, the music, like everything was great, but also the whole time there's someone up there encouraging you. Like,
Mhm.
how do you encourage your riders to push their limits and keep going?
I think that goes back to the positivity and how you're coaching them. Obviously, you want to make it challenging, and they did not pay and they are not showing up to do something they would do at home by themselves. They're in class for a reason. They're there either for your motivation and or the motivation of that person clipped in next to them on that bike that I tell them every day at the end of class, look at that person next to you, tell them good job. Thank you for being here. You don't know what your presence means to someone else right beside you in the class. So, showing up, I always say is the most important thing in life. That's the first key is getting them in the door and showing up. Once they're there, feeding them with positivity, but realistic challenges and reminding them that I say a lot, this isn't pain, this is discomfort. And that goes back to kind of what I said with the Seth stuff when I was like, oh, I'm suffering. This is so hard. No, you're not. Like, you're not. This is discomfort. This is an uncomfortable feeling because you're challenging yourself and you're pushing yourself a little bit harder than you would have because I'm pushing you just a little bit harder. But keeping the positive feedback to them and then telling them after they crush it that they freaking crushed it, you know, that's a huge part of it. It's
Yeah.
just that positive reinforcement behind that, but also knowing, it's simple, it's not easy is one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite instructors, Katie Rossi. She says that it's simple,
Jay,
it's
I'm
not
about to
easy.
make you a lot of money. I mean, let's quit your jobs. I've got 3 quotes here that I'm about to write on
Let
my
this
gym
podcast
wall.
take
It's
off
not
and we'll see what
pain,
happens.
it's discomfort.
I love
What did you
that.
say? It's simple, not what did
Not
you say? I
easy.
mean, you're just
It's
full of
simple,
them.
not easy. And that's Katie Rossi. I have to give that to my girl. That's one of my favorite spin instructors to ride. She actually just relocated to Charlotte. So
It's
I'm sad. Shout out
it's
Katie Rossi. But
it's not a
she
bad
says
life. It's
that.
a bad day.
So it's so
Yeah,
much.
it's a bad
You just have to
moment.
remind
Like,
yourself constantly
Bad
that
moment.
this isn't the
um,
end. It's
It's the
temporary.
beginning. Write that down
well, we
too.
just need to put all your quotes on a website, purchase
While
and
she's
ship. I'm
biking.
sure. Yeah. Well, and Shay, I know that you use music a lot. You care a lot about your music. You send me
Yeah.
playlists. You ask for songs
Does she
sometimes.
rap?
We talk about music. You
She
really
sings.
like show up 110% for your riders.
Yeah.
But how does music affect your positivity? Tell me about the music selection process and the community
Yeah.
of spin and all of that.
So rule of thumb with like spin and how like when we came in we were under cycle bar, we've rebranded to hit squad south. So all of the things I was taught in the beginning sort of flowed through. Number one rule, don't repeat a playlist. So your riders don't want to show up and hear what they heard last week, and you'll likely coach the same way or not very differently if you do that. So new is good, but So tonight's my 439th class, and it's my 439th playlist made. That said, that's a lot of songs. That's 12 songs per class. And I've already looked up, it's days of my life I've spent playlisting. But music is to me everything. And I think that's also one of the reasons why spin became such a huge part of my life, is because it's in that moment, having that music and being able to feel everything you need to feel. And then when it's done, it's done. So when I make playlists, I joke with my writers, you could ask any of them. Like last week, for example, I had a bad day. So I started my playlist that night. And so it's like Limp Bizkit, like, I mean, it's just like dark,
Hitting
dark, dark,
hard.
dark, dark. And then
Yeah.
Lil Wayne comes on like right above it, bum, bum, bum. And it's like the happiest. Like I changed the lights when I came on. But I needed to feel that, right? It's like a diary. Every single playlist is like a diary. You can go through back for the last 3 years and pick one and be like, I can tell you what she was feeling in that moment. But that's what makes it relatable, is because, I'll tell a story about my day or some dumb thing that happened, even if it's like, road rage and whatever. Someone in there is going to relate to it. It might not be the same situation, but we all can feel the power of music. And I think that it's such a powerful thing. So, when I need to like turn my day around, I might listen to a couple headbanging metal songs, and then let's put on something positive, and it's done. I felt it and it's over with. So music has turned into a huge part of my life that I wasn't expecting. When you get into spin, the last thing you think about is you're going to be, musicality is going to increase. You're going to be, everything I hear is on an 8 count. Like it's crazy. So
So
Preach.
relatable to cheerleading.
So
Yeah.
relatable.
Like when a waltz comes on,
Yeah.
I'll tell you it's a 3 count. I'm like, this is a waltz. Like it has definitely, I wouldn't say ruined music, but it certainly made me hear it differently, which then applies to my day-to-day life. If I have a stressful day going into knowing my work day is going to be crazy, then might be a little Wayne drop that morning, or you never know, something to hype me up. But it's music matters big
Love
time.
Lil Wayne. Yeah.
I love that.
Sometimes you
Well, I'm super
might
proud
need
of
to
you. I know that I liked what you said too. You don't have to, you get to. Yet another quote, that positivity movement, we have to appreciate our bodies and feel that gratitude. And I know we see that a lot in coaching. So, at Mountain State, and sometimes the girls are just showing up because they have to, and sometimes they're showing up because they're excited. So we're
Right.
constantly trying to, and we do have, we're working with littles, and I know that you have routines in cycle too, or in spin, but we have our routines, but it's how do we consistently show up in a new way for them? How do we
Right.
consistently, change our goals, or um, get them re-engaged and interested again, because we want them to stay motivated. And that can be hard, whenever
Yeah.
when you keep those routines the same, but showing up in different ways, keeping that connection, staying relatable is super important.
I agree. And I think that what you guys are doing is you're building life skills, because these are skills that they're going to need to use in every situation for the rest of their life, not just, competitive cheer. Like there's going to be moments where it's not a bad life, it's a bad moment, like those type of things that they're going to need to face forever. So as you're like instilling in them so young, I mean, one day maybe there'll be a spin instructor out there saying all the things that they've heard from you, and the positivity and what you've instilled in them. So a lot of times we are influenced by people that aren't in our homes, or there's people in our lives that mean a lot. So you all in that coaching role, I think that's so important, because you've got these littles, but you're building young adults, right? You're raising adults essentially.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
So
the physical activity also helps with, their mental state. Like I know that my kids, they're like, oh, after school. But once they get there and they let their energy out, they always seem to be in a little bit better mood.
amen.
And they like to go and jump on the trampoline, release some of that energy. And I know that I seem like I'm in a better mood once I'm there. And
Yeah.
so I think that it just like surrounding yourself, like we've been talking about, with positivity and stuff. So It does help.
Agreed. I'm the same way. I have days where I don't feel like going to teach class. It's like some of my classes are in the morning, some of them are after work at like 5:30. Two of them a week are at 5:30. I have one tonight at 5:30. And if I'm having a crazy chaotic day, I can have a moment like, ah, and then once I'm there and I sweat it out, I'm so grateful. But it's a matter of back to showing up's the most important thing in life. Once you show up and you're there, then everything just flows. But it's a matter of, it's the perspective
Get
can
through the
change
door.
once you're actually there and doing it.
Yeah, I agree. So looking back, Shay, you were an incredible athlete to say the least.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you came from our little small town, ended up on a full ride scholarship at Duquesne University. And um, just because it makes, I feel like, our viewers, especially our athletes who are going to be watching this
Mhm.
back, um, I mean, it's achievable. Like, yes, you had a dream. And I'm not sure if you just saw my post from yesterday. I shared like a legendary team in West Virginia, cheerleaders who, I mean, they're just phenomenal. Like, they're next level. Nobody can compete with them. But they've built this program, and I just shared with those who read it. Ultimately, yeah, it seems like a far-fetched dream, but the reality is that they've just outworked us. Like, my
Yeah.
jaw's not on the ground because of what they put on the mat, but my jaw's on the ground because I know how hard they've worked to get where they
What they put
are, and I
in.
know the expectations. And yeah, and it does, like, you aren't born, you don't come out of the womb twisting, flipping, or getting D1 scholarships. Like, you have to
Right.
work for it. You have to put in that effort. And so tell me a little bit about your journey athletically as well.
Yeah. I think that that's multifaceted when you start to look at it. First things first is the commitment and the decision that I want to be this. Like, and I don't care what it takes to be this. This is what I want. Once that's the decision, then you can take the steps as to what it's going to take to get that. Now, not every family is going to be in the same situation. There's travel and things that can go into that, depending on the age, not everyone's going to have the resources, but there for me was support from my family, but moreover, a commitment to show up and do what I needed to do every single day at times of the day that people didn't want to put in that work. And I think that you look back, for me, Kobe was a huge, huge inspiration. He was, rest in peace, Kobe. You'll hear story after story after story about him being the first one in the gym and the last one out for the day. Like, I had my parents get me a glow in the dark basketball so that I could shoot hoops outside at night. You remember that? Like,
I do.
I was doing a lot of things that I think a lot of other kids might not have been committed to doing, or they didn't have the same goal, and that's okay. It's okay to not want to be a certain level. But for me, I decided that I wanted to make it to this level. I wanted a full Division I scholarship, and I was going to work to get there. Now, I wasn't the most talented kid on the court. And, yes, I'm tall, but that can now also, be a challenge when you're growing so fast and you're trying to, am I a guard?
Yeah.
Am I a small forward? Or, in terms of growth. So there's the commitment part of it, which is huge. But I think that another part of it, which brings you back to the positivity, is that you have to be able to block out the noise. So not everybody's going to root for you, and not everybody's going to be your cheerleader. And you have to be able to not care what those people think. You have to be able to not care what those people say, because ultimately that's a reflection of themselves. Whatever their problem is with you, or the people that want to hold you back or tell you you can't make it, or tell you, prove them wrong. And that once again goes back to a mindset of get out of my way. I've committed to doing this. So I'm going to put in the work that it takes for me. And when you talk about that team in West Virginia and about how they're so untouchable, I have always had a problem rooting for the underdog, because I've been on teams that struggled bad. And then I have been on teams that won big time. And I've seen what it takes for both levels, or lack thereof. So ultimately, I think that the reason I've always had a tough time rooting for the underdog is because I know that the top dog has put in the work to get there. And I have been that. I've been the, all right, I when I showed up at Morgantown to do simple ball handling skills, I didn't have it. I mean, I was embarrassed. There was so much I didn't even know what to do. Like, I had never in my life, and once again, that's an experience, right? And that's like, I was blessed to have that opportunity and to be able to grow, but it was because I put myself in the position to be there and I kept committing to getting it done. I remember leaving that practice. My mom was like crying for me. It was so embarrassing. But I came back and I practiced again the next day. And then I went home and I up and down my driveway, spider dribbled. It wasn't a matter of, I can't do this right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be able to do it. And so I feel like that kind of throughout my life has sort of been indicative of everything I do. Once you make a commitment to doing something, then it's done. You just have to keep showing up for yourself in order to get where you want to be. And blocking out the noise is such a key part of that, because, I mean, quite frankly, if they're not rooting for you, they're not for you. Get them out of here and
And
surround yourself with the people that believe in you.
Yeah, like don't let it affect you. But in fact, let's just prove them wrong, right? I mean,
100%.
That's my
They're
mindset. Like,
100%.
if anything, this is going to be motivation. I'm going to use this as motivation. So,
Success is the best revenge.
right. I feel like sometimes we talk about like working hard, and that's just when we think about working hard, we're thinking about, like you said, getting the glow in the dark basketball, practicing at night, showing up before and staying later. But it's also in the little moments, in the daily life habits that we do and that we build. Are we, when we're in college, are we going out the night before a big practice, or are we staying in? Are our grades up to par? Are we showing up for our teammates in all the ways that matter? Are we, I mean, you have to, we say, our skills extend beyond the mat,
Right.
but are you
There's
carrying
discipline.
those same, yeah, how are we feeding our bodies? How are we
Mhm.
sleeping? Like, how are we showing up for ourselves in other ways, not just on the court or on the mat? But in lots of areas of life, because that's what it really takes to be great,
Right. I agree completely.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened to Candy. She disappeared.
Candy.
But that's been something we're trying really hard to do at Mountain State. And I mean, I even word us as the underdog just because, you know, we're coming from a small town and nobody's
Yeah.
had competitive cheer here before. And so I mean, I market myself as an underdog. Like, I'm like, just because I'm going to fight tooth and nail to get to the top. Do I
Right.
plan on staying an underdog forever? No, but I want
Right.
to own my story and, come out on top. Can you tell us like a little bit about the culture of those different teams that you've been on,
Mhm.
and what like the key differences were, or because we're trying to build a program. We know culture is huge. We're
Yeah.
trying to show up in all the ways, but like, what can we do as coaches to be the best we can?
I mean, I think you all showing up, and they're going to look to you for leadership and basically not mock what you do, but their energy is going to feed off your energy. And their commitment to showing up and putting 110% in, they can tell when, Coach TT is like less energy or in a bad mood, or so the showing up and just like bringing that energy, I think, is first and foremost, because they're going to play off of that and they're going to be excited to be there. Just being able to share your knowledge, and then when you see them communicate with each other or the way you communicate with them, I feel like you will find that is reflective on the energy you're bringing too. So, you might see a little more sassiness when you're being a little more sassy, but it's kind of all hand in hand back to that, positivity, might be a rough practice, or it might be a rough moment, or we might not just be sticking everything. And I'm not saying that people can't start out as underdogs. It's just you don't want to stay there, right? It's the
Right.
goal ultimately is to continue to be to a top dog position. But if you don't have confidence in yourselves, or you're negative, or oh, we didn't get that, we didn't stick that one, then every single thing from there just sort of spirals, so I think there's a lot to say for that. It's just you guys showing up and bringing that energy and encouraging them to basically encourage each other, right? Like in spin, I call it a woo crew, because if I say something like, let's go Edva, 4 or 5 people in that room are going to be like, woo, like
Wow.
they're going to verbalize it, and I like, if I start class, I'm like, all right, music turns up, I turn up, you turn up. Like that's my phrase to start the class. That's how they know, all right, I might have just been like BSing about whatever's been going on for my day, but now it's time and we're going to get it. So flip the switch and let's go. So
Coach, Taylor does a really good job with like having those teachable moments, like, with the girls. And we've had most of those girls from youth. And I mean, we've had them for probably 3 years, 4 years.
I think this is,
And
3.
so they know our coaching styles, they know our expectations. So they know our standards. They know that we are not going to steer them the wrong way. We're going to be there, we're going to show up. They know what it takes, they know what to expect, and they know that we're here to win. And Taylor does a really nice job to teach them. Like, she's not there to yell. She takes the time to, and I'm like, you know what? If you're not first, you're last. I'm like, I'm here to win. Like, you know what? Like, and I tell them that I probably shouldn't, but you
with the
know
coaching
what?
style,
Exactly. Like,
someone might
you know
feed
what?
off you differently than her,
Yeah, well, probably. Yeah, they do.
which is a
And
good thing.
We're both pretty competitive. We're both first,
yes,
Psychos. No kidding.
Well,
yeah.
some programs are all about, I feel like some programs are built to support the journey. And then some programs are built to win. Like if I'm a paying customer, I'm paying, yeah, I want to have small teachable moments throughout, but at the end of the day, like we're here to win.
Right.
And they
This
want to
isn't a
win
free
too.
program offered for the experience alone.
Right.
Like you're paying us for results. And so I'm going to pause and just read some of these comments because Mitchell and Darissa are our biggest fans and they're always here supporting us. Mitchell wants to implement group workout classes for the parents to participate in, spin classes while kiddos are cheering and tumbling. And yes, we really want that. I have an entire business plan for that. I have a company name for that. We just also have to recognize that we're still building our priority 1, and then eventually, I would love to revisit that business plan or partner with somebody else who wants to see that vision take flight. Right now, we just don't have that capacity. So, I would love to. Like I said, I've done a survey with our families and got a lot of good feedback. I know that they want Pilates, I know they want bar, I know they want spin, and also like you know, recognizing that we're not in Jacksonville where we have endless healthy people. And yeah, we want to get there, but we also have a few gyms in town that offer similar things, not the exact same thing. So, I mean, for me, starting with low risk is important and doing like something like Zumba or something that has very small starting cost is important. So if it was me, spin where I'm spending thousands and
Bikes.
thousands on bikes is probably not ideal, but
I
starting
used to do
small and then
Zumba.
growing is something that I really want to do. I mean, we have what, 2 treadmills and an elliptical sitting out there waiting to be used, but um we're just not there yet. We hope to be there, Mitchell. And then the Shaws want to say hi to you, Shay. Hi from the Shaws.
Hello. Hello. Hello, everybody. I'll
And
be home at
Drissa
Christmas time, so I hope I run into everybody somewhere.
yeah.
I'm coming for 2
Drissa
weeks.
said
I
if
didn't
they're
come
not
home all
rooting for
year.
you, she said if they're not rooting for you, they're rooting against you. Bang, she liked that one. Um, and then last year we had in our music and then on t-shirts we had from a small town to a big stage, Mountain State is here to slay. Um, which we loved that quote. I still wear that shirt all the time. And
I
then
love
Mitchell says Taylor and Candy are the Whoop crew 24/7.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Don't forget Ariana. She's in there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And she's honestly probably the most positive out of all of us. So it's good to have that balance. But it's 12:42. We only have a few minutes, so I do want to we have
Oh.
one more small segment of this session I do want to touch on real quick. So let's shift gears into some of those daily practices that we mentioned earlier. Specifically, I'm going to do a whole entire session strictly on visualizations and the importance of that. But affirmations, vision boards, like there's all of these things that people use to stay positive and stay goal oriented. What are you using daily, Shay? What do you recommend? What's worked? What hasn't?
So I'm big into the positive affirmations. And like I said earlier, so every day I do end my day on my win of the day. Before I go to bed, I have to pick out my win of the day. And I feel like that kind of helps too in resetting for the next day because you're going to bed on a positive note, no matter how chaotic or crazy your day was, you can always find something positive in it. Um, but so I know vision boards are big for a lot of people. I'm not directly a vision board person, but I am big into the positive affirmations and just truly reminding myself. I think gratitude is a huge portion of that. So without gratitude, we really have nothing else. There's really no way to be that positive if you can't be grateful for what you have, and that certainly can't grow to be more when we come from a place of like scarcity versus a place of abundance. I think that that's a big difference in how we can look at things. So instead of coming from a place of fear, come from a place of gratitude where you can be like, okay, today was a tough day, but you know what? I look how good my life is, right? And you have to be able, you can find a win of the day any day. I don't care how bad your day was. And there's
Right.
always going to be something there. So I think it truly goes back to gratitude. And without gratitude, I feel like there, it affects the positivity of it all.
Yeah. Shay, I know that
Awesome.
you're really, really busy. I don't want to keep you. Do you have something that you need to hop off? I have like two more questions for you if you have time, but if
I'm
not,
good
I
for two more
understand.
questions. I have a meeting at
Okay.
1, but I'm good until then.
Okay. So we will wrap it up quickly, but real quick, like something that we do at the gym that we don't even really know we do, but with affirmations, like at the end, our wildflowers, they say, "We are powerful wild flowers," and that's like our huddle. And then our monarchs say, um, "Candy, help me. Next level right here. Let's go,
Here,
monarchs." This isn't our team, so we're not
level
sure.
all
But
here. Let's, uh-huh.
yeah, it's another affirmation, but like coming together and doing that. Do you
Yeah.
have something in your classes that you say every day that just like, I know you said you kind of start and end on the same note, but is there like a saying that you say on repeat?
Yes, there's a couple. So in moments of like difficulty or challenging, like part of the workout, I like to remind them that they came too far and they worked too hard to give up now. So I will be like, we came too far, we worked too hard, which there's the psycho spin instructor coming out. But a huge thing that I remind them through the whole class, which is it's a physical reminder, like a literal physical reminder, but it's also what I'm delivering to them. And I mean, it's even on my like chin up princess or the crown slips. So,
Yes.
you have to remind them. And I mean, I do that. It's like I said, it's a physical reminder because on the bike, you want to have your chin up, you want to be up tall, you don't want to like curl into yourself physically. But it's obviously at my mortgage job, it's because I need to remind myself every day, chin up princess or the crown slips, because you have to be confident, know that you've got whatever this day holds. So it's a reminder in the workout to them physically, yes, but I think it goes a lot deeper than that. So those are two big things that I push, and then I'm on repeat of showing up is the most important thing in life. Once you're there, then you have to do something with it, yes, but if you don't show up, forget the rest, right?
Right.
Perfect.
And you said that you have the win of the day and that's how you try to end your day.
Mhm.
And I know this just because I know you and we sat down at one Thanksgiving or Christmas and I like saw you with your planner that is very detailed.
Yep.
And do you write that win of the day down by
Yep.
chance, or you just mental note it, or like does it go in your planner?
Yep. It's a write down every day. And then also the gratitude. So I didn't bring this up prior, but then 3 things that you're grateful for in your day. I try to always do that and then put my win of the day on there. So you can have your moments, right? My win of the day sometimes is that firehouse sub that I got at lunch and just hit the spot and everything else was chaos. But it's the point is going back and like finding that positive moment or what moment brought me happiness. Maybe it's jamming to some music or hearing an old song you hadn't heard on the way to work, or the silliest things. And like I said too, it could be the biggest thing of the day. You got a very difficult loan clear to close, or saving someone thousands of
Right.
dollars that was in financial trouble. Like, it could be big or small, but writing it down is a good way to reinforce to yourself, hey, I did that today. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, this has been absolutely amazing. And I think it's reminded us, how important the things that we do are. And just that positivity isn't just, of course, people bring different energy, but it's not just a personality trait, but it's something that we practice. It's a choice that we make every
Yeah.
day. And so it's something that we need to be conscious of, and that we do need to practice, because the more we practice, the better we get. And so I just want to say thank you, and
Yes.
we appreciate
Thank
you.
you guys for having
Yes.
me. I love what you're doing. I'm so proud of you and seeing how much this has grown. And I have seen it come from the thought of an idea. And I've watched you manifest this into an actual successful, amazing thing. And you're touching so many lives. Um, it's a product that it goes so much deeper than just, hey, this is cheer. You're truly building these young adults, and they're going to remember all of this. It's going to be so impactful to their lives moving forward. So just know that I'm proud of you. I love what you guys are doing. I've got my special little shirt, my Mountain State Cheer Academy shirt that I like pretty sure I donated like 3 different businesses from. Like, I just am
Yes.
so proud of you guys. And I love what you're doing. So I make sure you take time to stop and pat yourselves on the back. I know you've got parents that support you and the kids and all that, but just know you're doing huge things and you should be proud of yourselves.
Well, thank you for being part of our Whoop crew.
Yes.
We are
Nice
also
meeting you,
cheering you
Shay.
on.
It's nice meeting you,
Yeah,
Candy.
it
Yes.
was, we're part of your Whoop crew. We're proud of you too. And we want to see
Yes.
health, fitness, and positive attitudes all across from here to Florida. So we love you.
Yes.
And
Love
real
you guys.
quick, to all my viewers, thank you all for joining us for another wonderful episode of Lunch with Mountain State Cheer Academy. This is a reminder to stay fired up and remember all of those core values, including today's special topic of positivity. Practice this in your everyday life. If you have not yet liked, commented, shared, subscribed, all of the things to our social media accounts, please take just a few moments to do that. Leave your thoughts in the comments. We go back and we look through those comments constantly. So all of your feedback is helpful. It helps us know exactly where to take this podcast. Like I said, we do have a quick look ahead at some cheer moms taking over next week, and some
Can't
fun topics
wait.
about what it is like to be a cheer mom. Jarissa's going to be joining us, as well as a couple other moms. It's going to be super
Cheer
fun. We're going to share
dad.
some laughs. It'll be a
Love
lot
it.
lighter than some of these heavier topics, but bring the energy next week, because we're going to have some fun. So if you're a mom from Mountain State, or even another program, if you're part of one of the local cheer programs, or maybe Champs or somewhere else, like, you're welcome to shoot us a message so that we can send you the invite and you can join us. We want to know everybody's experiences. So
Yep. Let's get fired up.
dads, don't worry. You will have your spotlight, just not next week. Dads, you will be
No.
invited. I know you want to hop on too. So another time.
Love it.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you again. Let's stay fired up. We'll see you next week. Shay, we love you. Candy, we love you.
Yes.
And